Why did I change my mind from becoming a nun, a sister, religious sister? Hi guys, how are you doing? How is everything? How is it that side? Me, I'm okay. I'm really happy. And today I wanted to just come and we catch up and I tell you a story. This is a question very many people have asked me, especially people who knew me from before, who have seen me grow. They've asked this question so many times, and sometimes I don't even know the answer to give them. So I dodged that question. But today, I'm ready, 100%. I'm ready to give you the truth, the entire truth, and the entire answer to the question. What's the question? The question is, why did I change my mind from becoming a nun, a sister, religious sister, the Catholic faith? For those who have just known me, maybe this is something you don't know, but from an early age, from a class of around P4, P5, primary 4, primary 5, up to campus, I really wanted to be a nun. Like when I tell you I really wanted to be a nun, some of us, it's hard even to understand what I'm talking about. But as that kind of committed person, I used to dress like a nun. I would veil my hair. I would visit convents. I would, generally, my whole life, I was living it like I was already a religious sister. Friends, colleagues started calling me Sister Liz. Actually, most of them even up to now refer to me as, "Hi, Sister Liz," and for some it has even become a joke of like, "It's Sister Liz, Mrs." But I really wanted to be a nun. And the switch from being a nun to dating and to marriage, number one, from the time I stopped being Sister Liz to the time I became Mrs. Mogisa, was a very short time. So very few people, like to many people, it seemed like a surprise of, who is wedding? So that was something that was a bit shocking and seemed too abrupt. So it seemed very suspicious. What is it that made her change her mind? Was it that all these years she had been fooling herself? Did she finally see the light? Did something happen in the convent that made her? So these are many questions most people have asked me, including my siblings. But what exactly happened? I'll just backtrack a little bit to give you a bit of history, how I got to the decision of, becoming a nun. It wasn't like you wake up and, yeah, I know I was young and all, but I remember this specific day, very specifically, because I had refused to go and play. I used to play. I was so playful. My God, I was so playful, guys. Even my school, everybody still remembers, because I was so playful because of my brother. Not necessarily that I'm stubborn. Anyway, so I remember this day I refused. I told my brother, no, I don't want to play. I just want to stay. So I stayed in class. I put my head on the desk. I started thinking. A lot of things were going on in my mind. I don't know why, but I was thinking a lot of things. I started imagining my life like in the future. This is primary school, but I was imagining what kind of life am I going to have in the future. Okay, yeah, I remember actually. The truth is, something had happened at home between my parents, and they had bickered like really badly, like those nasty disagreements between parents. And the way the whole thing went made me like evaluate the kind of life my parents are living. Like it made me question, are these guys happy where they are? And me being a lady, of course, the easiest person I would relate to was my mother. And I kept thinking, if mommy had a choice, would she have made the same choice to be my mother, to be, my dad's wife? Like a child, you're thinking through these things. And I was wondering, like, what kind of life am I going to have? Am I going to be like my mom, whereby I'm in a situation that's super complex and, there's a lot of words being exchanged, there's ABCD. It was just like that moment, I think, which triggered the whole thought process. So I thought about everything I'd seen, and I remember making a decision like, but I want to be a different kind of woman. I want to be a different kind of woman. Then I started thinking in my head, which women have I seen who are not like my mother? I don't know if you guys get, like, I started looking for those women who are in their own life, like independent. They don't have to answer to no man. They seem like they have their life together. You know, they're happy and all that. And I remember one name specifically popping up in my head, and that was okay, that's my dad's aunt. My dad's aunt, so I call her grandma. My grandmother, who is a nun, she's called sister. We've grown up calling her sister, sister, sister. But she's in the Banya Teresa sisters. Her pet name is Akiki. I remember Sister Akiki, like I used to see her. She would come home, you know, and she would visit, putting on those wood dresses. Those wood dresses of theirs. They are well ironed. That sister is looking nice, guys. She puts on her cashew. Even you look under her shoe is clean. She would just enter. She has her handkerchiefs all folded properly. She has a bag. Like, she looked happy. She would visit when she wanted. She was just like no stress of a man. You guys, like, it seemed like it. Every time we went to visit her in the convent, I'd be like, oh, this is so cute. This is so nice. She looks so independent. She looks so free. And that time she was even younger than she is now. So she looked so beautiful. She just looked so admirable for me. So I remember that same conversation I was having in P5. I told myself, like, you know what? I want to be like Sister Kiki. That is the first time it clicked in my head. And I told my classmates, I told my friends, guys, I'm going to be a sister. I'm going to be a nun, a religious sister in the Catholic faith. Because prayer, I love prayer. Being in church, I love being in church. By the way, the first place like I ever got a compliment, really, and a compliment sank in, was in church. I remember at home they used to laugh at me a lot for dancing. Like, I dance, even now, my dancing skills still need Jesus. But like, I would dance in the same spot. My legs would not move. So, and then my brother is still that kind of person, like dances and takes all the attention from the floor. So somehow they always criticize me in comparison to him. But this one time I went to Sunday school and I danced. My God, the teacher clapped for me, as like church is the place for me. Even they like my dancing. Church is my place. Anyways, back to the P5 thing. So I make a decision. I tell all my friends. So I start finding out from different people, and also that grandma of mine, like, what do you need to become a nun? They told, of course, the first thing they tell you is you have to abstain, because people who have slept with men, they can't become nuns. I was like, Kali, I will protect myself so that one doesn't disqualify me. That was number one. So if that one is sorted, what else do I have to do? Like, you have to study and reach a particular very good level. I was like, I'll study, don't worry. Because they told me some convents would take in at senior 4, some at senior 6, some even after campus. So I was like, I'll study, no problem. Like, what else? You need consent from your parents. Now that's where the PICO was. I didn't tell my parents, of course, at P5. I told them at around like P7 there. But I told them, you know what, Daddy, I want to become a nun. My dad looked... My dad, oh my God, my dad. Anyway, my dad looked at me like I was so crazy. But you know, as a parent, he's like, yeah. The only condition I give you, study and get a degree, because I don't want you to grow flowers. My dad like really despised nuns who went without skills. Like, you go into a religious community when you have no skill to offer whatsoever. He felt like those were just a burden to the whole group. I don't know if it was his trick to discourage me, but either way, I got his point. He kept saying, I don't want you to go there to just grow flowers. Anybody can grow flowers. Go there and take a skill. So I was focused to study. Like, no matter how hard things got, I was focused to study because I wanted to become a nun. I was ready. I learned all I could learn in the Catholic Church. But at some point, around senior 2, I remember asking myself, like, but is this enough? Like, all these requirements, I feel like I'm not doing enough. If I really want to become a nun, I need to put in more. I need to be outstanding. I need to do something beyond what I'm doing right now. So I remember talking to one of you know, high school. I was privileged to go in a very beautiful high school, Mary Hill. God bless them. Anyway, they used to bring us lots of mentors. Some are religious, some are not, some, you know, and I remember talking to one of them and they told me, you need to do your research. Like, never take a decision just on face value. Do your research and make sure you know why you're making that kind of decision. I'm like, oh, okay. I started making research, guys. I moved in convents. That's when I realized actually my grandma's congregation is not the best for me. Like, yes, I can still be a nun, but in a different kind of convent. So I looked for other convents. That's why I found different. There are so many convents, guys, in Uganda. So many. So the ones I could access by foot, like the ones within Fort Poto, I could go there. The ones within Imbarara, whenever I had a chance, you know, like those weekends where you get a chance to leave school, I'd go there. Some I'd ask for permission from the nuns in school and they would take me there. Even the convents within the school, I tried to ask. I'll just go knock on the gate. Hello? They just see a young kid. Hi, I want to ask questions about becoming a nun. And Bambi, they would let you in, they would give you tea, then they would let you ask all the questions and give you all the answers they could give you. They'd bring up some sisters who are young, those on the journey, and you'd ask and ask and ask. I would even ask priests, I would ask brothers to give me their experience of particular congregations. So the beautiful bit is that finally I got a congregation that I was really passionate about. Oh my God, so passionate about. That is Holy Cross. Holy Cross Ministries. I was so passionate about those guys because I loved their mission. I loved everything they were doing. Like, generally, their heart was matching with the kind of person I am. The ministries they do, they go out there, outreach, you know. And the other thing I loved is that they don't put on uniforms. They don't put on uniforms as long as you're smart. Okay, maybe on functions like really big days, maybe the Pope has come, it's a diocese day, they can decide and put on like matching things, but they put on their normal clothes. They will put on their normal dress, they will plait their hair, they look normal to the community. Why? To blend in. Like, if you're ministering to someone, you shouldn't be on a pedestal. Once you're putting on a veil and looking, sometimes people like isolate those nuns as if they are unreachable and untouchable. But these guys wanted to go to the grassroots to minister to people. They go sit down in the dust with people and talk to them and teach them and, you know, spread the good news. So I really loved the bit of Holy Cross. I like, you know what, these are the ones I'm going to journey with. So I expressed my interest in the convent and they took me in very well. There's a nun who held my hand and Bambi journeyed with me, introduced me to the Mother Superior. Sister Mary Lou, up to now, I still pray for you. I still pray for you. You're an amazing nun. Anyway, so I journeyed with the Holy Cross for a very, very long time, up to a senior 6, even through my vacation. I would go and do, they have these things where it's come and see. You come and spend with them like a week or 2 weeks. You live with them the real life of a nun, and then you get to tell what the experience is like. You wake up, pray with them, do all these things. So I did a lot of come and see with them. They took me to the mother house. You know, I used to have fun, guys. I would come back and I'm smiling like this. My siblings would be like, but I lazy. They wouldn't get it. The joy I would receive was just, you know. So we started formation. And no, it wasn't formation. We started, we were in that lot for discernment. The first steps whereby they take you through discernment. And the whole process, this one is to help the individuals who are interested in the religious life to like know, is this my actual calling? That is the question. Like, is this what I am called to do? Not necessarily like for you to become. Now for me, I thought it was like it's a process for me to become a better nun or a better candidate for nunhood, until they sat me down and told me, no, this is discernment. And in discernment, you're trying to see, what am I called to be as Elizabeth? Yes, I admire nunhood, but what am I called to be? So that was my turning point, actually. So I started with so much vigor, doing everything, copying. I would see what the nuns are doing, I would do that. You know, yeah. As I was also studying at campus, that was my first year in campus. But these guys used to visit me. They would come, like, guide me. Every 2 weeks would have something, some form of interaction with them. Either another team or the Mother Superior herself. She would travel a very long journey and would come and, you know, we sit down, we try to evaluate the things the Lord is teaching me. Try and evaluate ABCD. If they gave us an assignment, how is it going? It was intense in a beautiful way. Until, guys, like I told you, some of these things when I'm answering, it's very unbelievable. But you know, I had that deep desire from a very long time a deep, deep, deep desire deep inside me that I really wanted to be a nun. But the truth is, its actual origin, its real actual origin was from a point of a wound. I saw what my parents had been going through and I didn't admire anything about that. And in my head, I made a decision. I want the opposite of that. And that was number one. Once I realized that, I was like, actually, because they keep digging down, in discernment, they keep digging down. Why do you want to be a nun? Like, why do you feel that is your calling? Why? So you dig as far as you can until you get the actual reason why. Not that that immediately disqualifies you, but it gives you insight. Can you first deal with that and then go forward? You see, So now that was number one. Once I realized that, I'm like, yeah, I didn't know like it was coming from that point. Then at some point, like after a very, very intensive retreat, we had this retreat which was so fired up and all these things, and they gave us an assignment to stay in the chapel. Like you stay in the chapel seated, and they gave us a series of questions which we had to ask ourselves, like you're asking yourself, looking inside, not your neighbor, nothing. So in this retreat, I remember sitting and I thought and thought and thought. And for the first time, I realized that the other desire I all along had faded away. Like now I was using muscle to sustain my passion for nunhood. The desire had gone away. And I couldn't explain it. It was so confusing for me and actually very upsetting because I thought that was something which was driving my direction. So I went and talked to the Mother Spirit. They were like, I don't know what's happening. Somehow the desire is disappearing and all these things. Of course, when you tell friends, most of my friends would just laugh. I get where they were coming from anyway. Yeah, so Mother Spirit told me, I remember very well at campus, she had come to visit. She told me, you know what, there is a reason why it has gone. Maybe God gave it to you for a reason, for that long, for a specific purpose. And now the purpose maybe is gone. Maybe you've done everything you have to do. Maybe you've learned everything you have to learn. Now, this is the exact purpose why there's discernment. How about we take a step back and now you start really evaluating yourself for who you are and for what you want and for what God is calling you for. So the next series I started undertaking were to look through the vocations we have. Of course, as Catholics, we have marriage life, we have single life, we have religious life. So now that the passion for religious life was fading off, what exactly am I called for? So we looked at the single life. I had a session whereby we're looking at that. We had a session where I was looking at married life and, and all these things. And it started dawning on me that I need to actually ask God for what he wants for me. And all of this, guys, I'm being honest with you, all of this happened before my husband's vibes like really came on strongly. Of course, yeah, he was around, he was my friend, but he hadn't like started pursuing me with that level of intensity, whereby you think maybe he's influencing me. No, that hadn't happened. So that's when I started like evaluating myself and opening myself up. And then I realized there's somebody I like in all of this. Like, I think there's somebody I like. And I remember sister asking me, like, that's nice. He actually met my current husband, but I just showed her, like, you see that guy, there's something I'm feeling for that guy, but it's just something. She was like, you know what, go deeper, ask the Lord what it is. Let the Lord show you, let the Lord teach you, let the Lord show you. Oh my God, she's an angel. Anyway, so, and in all this, I kept discovering myself, I kept discovering what it is that was going on, and I realized that all of my decisions were based on my fears, were based on my wounds and the things I had seen. What am I trying to tell somebody out there? Maybe there's someone who is confused about which direction to take. And I know this is very common, especially in our church, whereby someone is wondering, should I be single for Christ? Should I start pursuing religious life? Should I become married? What if marriage is not for me? Or someone has been single so long or has had very bad relationships that they're starting to contemplate religious life. So if you're somebody that's there, I just want you to take a focus on the inside. Like, my encouragement for you is focus inwards. The answer is there, and the Lord will show you the path to take. And he can show you your path before he brings the person. If you're meant for marriage, the Lord can show you that that's the path you should take, with or without the partner yet in sight. So the only thing we have to do is make sure you dig deeper. That's why I keep encouraging my single sisters and brothers. We need to use our single life usefully. Use it to your advantage. Don't just take things for granted. Just because you've seen only bad marriages doesn't really mean that yours will be bad. You get? It doesn't mean that because you're different people. I'm a very, very different person from my parents. I'm a very, very different person. I'm not saying that challenges are similar sometimes, but you can have a different experience. Let's not base our decisions on choosing a vocation on our wounds, on our past, on our bad experiences. Let's base on the Lord. Let the Lord be your benchmark and what He created you for. And by the way, let me tell you guys, the other thing like I learned in all this, in the whole process, is I remember sister always kept, encouraging all of us, like, guys, you can still achieve 100% of your purpose in life in any vocation. 100%. What does this mean? If you're called to do something, the Lord has put it in you to do something, you can still do it 100% no matter the vocation you're in. You can still serve the Lord, you can still preach the word of God, you can still minister to people, you can mother children. Honestly speaking, I've seen single people who are called into single life and they've mothered and adopted children. They didn't produce them themselves, but they've adopted them and they've taken them on. I've seen convents whereby they've raised groups of children. They've mothered them into adulthood, and yet they didn't give birth to them. You get what I mean? Yet there are people who are married, who have given birth to children, and they don't raise them, neither do they mother them. So no matter what your calling is at your heart, with the right, whatever it is on your heart, your purpose, with the right vocation, you'll prosper. But if I have something on my heart and I blunder into a wrong vocation, all I'm attracting is frustration, uncertainty, and a lot of anger and resentment. You get? So I know I would have made a very nice nun for a particular period of time, but I'm sure that would have run out with time, because muscle can never run anything. We need to run everything by the grace of God and by the calling He's put on our lives. So please, let's evaluate ourselves. Yeah, so cut the long story short, I decided I'll try the thing of, yeah, so I gave it a shot. Like, I really gave it a shot. I was like, okay, I'm going to date Co for like 1 week. Then I see. I'll be honest. I'm going to date Co just like a week. And I see how things go. Anyway, I didn't want to elongate everything, so I didn't talk about the whole journey of how I was vibed and the proposal and all that. If you're interested in that, please let me know. Another story segment, I can talk about that in the comment sections down. Just ask the question you're interested in, I'll answer that. So I started the journey. I kept trying to check the guy. I kept looking for reasons to check him. Kept trying to see how to run away and and all these things. And I never found the reason. And up to today, I'm still with him. So I thank God that I made that decision. And I thank God that I had people that were mature enough spiritually to guide me. Someone would think being a nun only guides people into nunhood, but I thank God that He led me to a congregation whereby these sisters helped me see that my vocation was actually marriage, and I'm loving every minute I am married. I'm loving every minute I'm in this vocation, and I thank God for it. So guys, hope you picked something. I hope my story has triggered something, or at least a conversation, or at least has triggered you to support someone who is in this journey. And maybe it has encouraged you to, it's okay to change your mind, even if people have known you all this time that you're going to make a good wife. They even call you Mrs. something. And right now you feel your heart is drawing towards single life. It's okay. It's your life. You can change your mind anytime, as long as you're in alignment with God. The only person that matters is Him. Once there's clarity here, the rest we can always deal with it. So guys, don't forget subscribe. Please subscribe. It means a lot to me. That red button there down, you click it, you can like, you can share my videos, If there's something you want to ask in the comment section, please ask. I read all the comments. You can ask. And yeah, stay blessed. I love you guys.